Welcome to Soul Elevation, guiding your ascension to new heights. I'm your host, Kara Goodwin. This is an amazing episode. I know how much everyone loves Marilyn Gewacke and ZaZar, so you're always going to be in for a good time with them. But wow, the information that ZaZar gives in this episode is off the charts. He really gives fascinating and detailed insights about humanity's ascension, talking from the huge cosmic perspective all the way down to the individual person and how they play into these massive changes. I was really blown away by this conversation, and I know you'll get so much from it too. It's very, very activating. I'll also put a link to our first episode together in the show notes too. Marilyn Gewacke, PhD, is a clinical psychologist, visionary teacher, and channel for Zezar, an omnidimensional cosmic being whose teaching focuses on consciousness expansion, multidimensional awareness, and humanity's evolutionary awakening. Marilyn is the author of the award-winning books, The Zezar Transmissions, The New Human in a Multidimensional World, and The Oneness of Being, Birthing the New Human. She's also the founder of the Sanctuary for Evolutionary Vision, where she leads workshops, retreats, and transformational experiences designed to help people connect more deeply to their multidimensional nature, heart-centered consciousness, and humanity's greater role within the cosmos. So we're going to start very shortly, but first I want to invite you to explore everything available for you at karagoodwin.com. You can get my book, Your Authentic Awakening, as well as a selection of free guided meditations to strengthen your spiritual side and access to powerful workshops and classes to support your ascension journey. And thank you for supporting the show. Your likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions genuinely help this work reach more people and uplift the frequency of the content. Every share makes it easier for others to find these conversations. So go ahead and hit the like button while you're thinking about it. All right, let's begin. Enjoy this episode. Well, welcome, Marilyn. I'm so excited to have you on here again. Thank you so much for coming on Soul Elevation.
I just love coming on your show.
Thank you. And I can't wait to talk to Zezar. And I understand that Zezar has come up with and brought forth some really amazing insights. I had made note of insights about the evolution of humanity, and there was something that we talked about at the New Living Expo, and I think it was to do with like the great central sun or the center of the universe and how we evolve around it. So I don't know if you want to go into that and give us a little taste, or if you want me to ask that of Zezar when he comes in later. And then there's been even more that has come through that I can't wait to dig into. You guys have been very busy.
We have been really busy. We've been busy traveling and all that. But recently, Zezar and I mean, he's brought in so much material, and I'm kind of the first guinea pig as a human to receive the material and try to digest it. And I'll tell you that it's so amazing and extraordinary that sometimes, Kara, I'll just be shaking for a few days trying to grasp this, what's happening to us on Earth. And I don't know if others have noticed this, but Zezar has said these winds of change are really swooping into our planet big time. What they carry is tremendous manifestation fuel. However, if there are things in the old program or this 3D in your lives that are a little shaky or cracked a little bit, the winds will take them and just really crack that whole thing up. So you might feel a lot of wavy times, but they're also bringing in tremendous winds of change to move us into more of our light bodies in our ascension process. But we've noticed lately these winds are coming in. Literally, we had a microburst storm come through 10 minutes on our sanctuary, knocked so many trees down, and some of them needed to come down. It was interesting. But we just had, and it just swooped in. Anything that was unstable went. And Zezar said, and yet at the same time during this week that these things happened, one of our team members who lives on the sanctuary lost her water from her well. All these different things were happening, we noticed. And Zezar was saying, yes, that's the winds of change. Anything that needs to change in your 3D environment, it will. The winds will push those things out. And it will look like you're going through these transitional things that aren't so pleasant. But at the same time, we felt such growth in our ability to hold higher vibrations during all this. So it looks like this paradoxical time, but really it's these polarized states kind of clashing, and these winds both help dissolve some of the old programs while boosting and causing more buoyancy in our ascension process. This is all happening in 2026. We've noticed it's speeding up. So if people out there feel tumultuous times more than usual in their 3D lives, makes sense. But also note that these are very powerful manifestation light winds that are coming through our planet from the central sun, from the galactic center. We are located in a way that we're receiving all this, Kara. And, sometimes it's really hard to digest both the dissolving process and the upgrading process. And so this year is quite a year.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it was fascinating because as you were starting to explain it, I was like, oh, it's been very windy, but I don't know if she means metaphorically because it's such a great metaphor for the energy. But then we've had these physical winds, and I get notifications from a solar activity website. I think it's called Space Weather or something. And it will say, and there's been one recently where it said, okay, we've got a coronal hole that is facing the Earth. So increased solar wind for the next 3 days or whatever. And it really does happen. So there is that conjunction too with the sun, like you're saying, that we can even track in the physical world.
Well, listen, these winds are coming in, may not be felt. And Zezar goes, humans often need a physical reminder of what's happening. So we get physical weather winds, we get the solar winds coming in. You're absolutely right. And people take note. The solar winds, people sometimes lose their cell service. Airplanes have a hard time navigating. All of this affects our electromagnetic field on Earth. And then the physical winds and these storms that have been coming in all over the country, all over the world. Just a little reminder, don't take it totally literal, that there's also this huge amount of change and transition coming into our planet. And it's manifesting this year. Everybody's been talking about it, but it's happening. And we're noticing as we travel, Kara, people are more ready than I've ever seen humans for this ascension process. They're awakening. They're ready for these new realities. Nothing seems that hard to really digest. And I have to mention this. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Day of Disclosure movie.
I'm seeing it in a couple of days.
Oh my goodness. It is totally, Steven Spielberg is a brilliant man. This movie really speaks to how much has been hidden from us as a human culture about the galactics and the ETs. And it really is it's another wind of change because I think it's going to help people begin to digest the truth. The biggest thing with disclosure, by the way, is can human unified consciousness across our planet stay coherent when these new realities arrive? And we're building to that place now where we're building this light grid of unified consciousness. Every time we have a retreat or an event, Zezar says it increases this field. And because we're talking about people that hold a certain light quotient, the field, even though it's not the majority of people yet, the field is much stronger than the denser lower vibrations. As that field builds, it builds coherence rather than the incoherence we see going on our planet. And as that coherence builds, it helps humans stay stabilized when some of these huge things like disclosure become globally known. So we're moving close to a whole lot of new realities being understood and conscious.
Yeah. It's a really exciting time and an exciting prospect because we're still on this side of it. I mean, well, your community is further along, but humanity in general is still on this side of it and still has to move through that. One thing that I'm noticing on that topic that is coming in really strong, more strongly in my view than normal, is the equating ETs as demonic. Are you seeing this as much as I am, where there is this narrative going and people seem to really be latching on to that?
Well, it's not, you know what's strange, Carrie? It's not so different than people like myself who may channel beings, people who have a lot of galactic DNA themselves that are walking this earth, people who are doing more far out things are considered, by some the Galileos of the planet, but by others, dark and doing bad things, because anybody that's way out there, people want to label. Well, we do the same with galactics. And so here, and as we get so close to disclosure, is it surprising that there's still a contingent that wants to build fear? Humans are fear addicted. And so they want to build fear around who these galactics are. Believe me, if you want to live in that reality, fine, but you bring that resonation to you. But what my understanding from Zezar is the ET craft that are so close to Earth are here to help us, but it's up to us to have free will to get in a state. We build a conscious field to be coherent for them to walk with us and for us not to be scared. As Zezar often teases, if the mantis being came to your door and rang the doorbell, you'd run when you opened the door. As though movies like Day of Disclosure are out, where actually the extraterrestrials are seen as these amazing telepathic, empathic beings. This is so wonderful because so many of our Hollywood movies aren't that. I think it's changing. We're turning a corner. That's one reason, Kara, my story of being on a craft as a child is so important, because many, many people have had incredibly good experiences with contact. Those people are now having those remembrances. We're learning more about positive contact as we do. I think those people who want to still instill this fear in human consciousness will begin to simply drop out. I think we'll see that, or we'll see people saying, oh, we're going to be attacked by the galactics if we invite them in. And it's so silly, Kara, because if the galactics wanted to attack us, they're so far superior technologically, we'd be gone.
Yes.
And so, but too many of us are having these amazing, amazing experiences, and they are so close to us now. It's up to us to get out of fear and start living in love, not just for them, but for humans. We have to learn to be in love. And so I say one last thing. we do this to galactics, but we do it to each other. We demonize people and who are doing brand new things, just like they did with Galileo. And it took 300 years after Galileo for scientists to finally accept the sun was the center of the solar system. Let's hope we don't have to wait 300 years for these revelations to be true.
Right. Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the fear piece, because there's the piece that we're so comfortable in fear as a human species. We just there's such a deep groove there that we're like, oh yeah, let me sink into that. That's really familiar. And what you talk about with this field that you Zezar and your community, there is this strengthening field that is built of something different. It is built of love and high vibration, and it is not fear. And you experience it when you're in it. And if you're still in the fear groove where that's where you're comfortable, then it's hard to even fathom another narrative.
But you know what? What's interesting, and Zezar also teases humans about this, it's hard to fathom, but it's your deepest desire.
Yes.
And we hold this desire to want to be in a room full of humans where we truly feel accepted and loved, and anything goes in terms of who we really are at a deep level. We're loved, we're liked, we light each other up. And that's what happens in our retreats. But I know humans can do this because we see it now, and it's huge. And no one wants to leave because deep down, this is what we've been looking for. Look, our circuitry, our biological, neurological circuitry is trained for survival. So that's why fear, we look out and see fear. That's why we judge things. We keep the separation going to find our little niche. But really deep inside, we're these incredible beings that desire unity and love and peace. And that's who we are. And we're coming out of our dungeons to realize our magnificent light can lead the way and bring a new earth. And I know this is happening. I see it. I know it. I feel it. I'm part of it.
Yes, I love that. Is there anything that you want to expand upon in terms of what you're noticing from the ground level? So as ground crew, what is Marilyn noticing about this shift?
Well, I noticed that people in general are more helpful, we go to a grocery store, the people are more friendly, they're kinder. There's a kindness. I live in the Northeast. There hasn't always been people who are kind. We learn to protect ourselves here from New York. But I've noticed a shift that wherever I go, a gas station, a clerk in a store, there's a kindness that's oozing out of people. And of course, when I walk in with kindness in my heart. Even if the person doesn't seem ready for kindness, the minute you walk in with a kindness vibration, they just resonate and join you much quicker than ever before that I've seen. And people at our retreats are so open and so willing to dance with each other in these, what we call new human ways, where they learn to make room for each other. They learn to desire that figure eight waltz that Zezar talks so much about, where we're dancing with each other in a brand new way, in higher vibrations. I've seen people really desire to understand what it means to live in higher vibrational living. Everybody now is asking much more about that. Where a year ago, Kara, they were asking, how do I deal with the densities? How do I deal with my relatives, a bad marriage, work? Now they're asking, how do I know how to be in a higher vibrational living way, and how do I maintain it? The questions are different now. They're more about how to stabilize this change up into higher vibration.
Wow, that's really exciting. So, is there anything more you want to share about what ZaZar is bringing through in terms of the unified field of consciousness, or do you want to let him explain?
So he will anyway, probably.
Okay.
I just want to share my excitement that he's helping. I'll let him share some recent understandings, but as we do not know, Karen, how powerful we are as humans when we get together. Princeton has done research on this. There are other universities doing research on this. When they've had 100 meditators in a city, the violence goes down. I mean, we are beginning to realize we create this field of consciousness that actually has effects on people's heart coherence. So we're just dabbling in it in our science, but this ability to form this unified field is really dissolving all these separations from all these realities that surround us that we used to think were in the invisible realm. People are understanding near death better. They're understanding what happens to the soul after death. They're understanding their incarnations from a higher level. This is all happening because the human consciousness unified field is expanding. I won't say any more because Zezar wants to talk about this. But as a result, not only is our DNA changing, because a lot of parts of our DNA have been dormant. Our scientists call it dormant, but waiting for this time where our light field magnetizes to a point where it starts turning on that DNA. Some of it is more star-bound DNA, cosmic DNA that we've come in with. So that's being turned on. And now, apparently, as our DNA becomes complete and the mutations that we've had in our DNA over thousands of years because of how we've lived cause us to have lives that should be so much longer, our longevity and our disease. And so part of that is our DNA has mutated or not turned on some of its dormancy. As we turn it all on, apparently the new news is that the DNA itself has the capacity to transmit light. And the light that will come from this will not only dissolve densities around us and within us. That's when we'll become more self-healers. So this stuff that's coming online now, and again, for some, this will sound like science fiction, but I've seen people turn on. I've seen their light expand. Zezar, when he looks at you, all he sees is your light quotient. He just sees how your light is shining. He doesn't see the densities. I'm learning to do that too. And I'll tell you, it's a lot more fun to see people's light than it is to see their darknesses. And remember, I was a psychologist. We were trained to see the densities and the hard things and the traumas. But boy, none of us have had our light seen enough.
Now, this is so interesting. If we link this back to you talking about the shakiness that you have felt,
yes.
Do you think that that is related to that happening with you as an individual?
Definitely. I mean, these changes aren't, people talk about ascension symptoms. When your DNA is changing, your body is changing. I can feel my heart field. I mean, I've become so much more heart-led in the world, and it's so much more wonderful to be heart-led with kindness and compassion and grace. But your physical body is going through all these changes too, because of all the light coming in from this galactic center, but also because our DNA and our actual physical material is changing. And when we ascend, we have access to our light bodies, which is something we've also been separated from. People don't even realize they have a light, energetic body.
Okay, so this is really fascinating. This is something I hadn't planned on talking about, but you've opened the door now, so here we go. So a couple of nights ago, I was not sleeping when I wanted to be sleeping, and it's summertime and it's hot and different changes happening within the body. But I was really trying to get myself back to sleep. And I started feeling my energy just as a byproduct of trying to get back to sleep. I mean, it wasn't like I was like, okay, well, I don't have anything else to do, so let me try to feel my energy. But I just tapped into it, and it was moving from the top of my head down to my feet over and over and over again very quickly. And I started to perceive that it was light, but it was like this light that I don't even know how to describe it, because there was almost like there was an end point and it would run down my body to my feet and then start again. And it was like something you would see almost in a hologram, where it's like almost flickering, but it's a downward motion, you know? Yes. And as that was happening, where I was like, whoa, this is really fascinating. I was just observing it, and it was one of those things where I was like, this has been happening, but I haven't noticed it before. And then I don't even know how to explain this, but over to my right side, I noticed a really very tall, slender being with long hair. And I was like, but I noticed it backwards. I don't know how to explain this, but it was like I noticed that I had noticed it, but I hadn't realized I'd noticed it, if this makes any sense. Because I had to remember it. The way that I noticed it was like it happened and I didn't notice it, and then I realized it had just happened, and then I remembered it all at once. That makes no sense, but this is just how I experienced it. And I was like, that was a very, very, at first I thought it was a human. And this is all happening in my mind's eye, because I was, again, trying to fall asleep, but I wasn't asleep. And I was like, it seemed as natural as anything that this being was there. It was very, very tall, very thin. And at first I thought it was a person. And then I was like, well, that can't have been a person. It was way too tall and too thin. And that was pretty much, that's the end. Like, I don't have and then my DNA activated and I was like, flying or levitating or anything. It was like, that's the end. But it was a lot to happen to me all at once.
Well, now we must call Zezar. I can feel him totally knowing what is going on.
Well, and it's just interesting because you talk about the light, you talk about the activation, you talk about all of that to it. And it's like, that felt like I was, because I think we all are light. We have these physical bodies and that's how we relate to each other. But within that, underneath that, the eternal part of us is really light. And we get, and I think it might be an indication of what's to come, where we've got this powerful time that we're in, and one of the ways that we will change is being able to not only understand that better with our human minds, but then the experiential part of it that goes beyond language, and it goes beyond oh, okay, I understand that as a concept. It's like to actually feel it and experience it is just like, whoa, this is amazing.
Oh my God. So I am so glad you brought up this experience. It is so important for people to hear, because Zezar's definition of ascension is conscious awareness of the experience of the vibrational self in the now. That experience, you had an experience. An experience is our teacher. People can tell us what they know, but when you experience something, you know it. You had an experience. It was total vibrational in nature, some of which language probably won't quite grasp the experience you had. So I'm going to have Zezar come out because he loves this. So beautiful, Kara. It is so wonderful to be with you. It is so funny to me. Can you tell me when this occurred in the night?
This was, I think it was Sunday night.
Okay. So I want to say to you, today is Wednesday. Would it be so surprising to you if I had paid a visitation to you Sunday night?
Well, now that you're saying this, we had this experience last time, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, I am about almost 8 feet tall. I'm tall, but I try to be smaller when people actually can feel me or know I'm there. But Kara, this is very important. It's very diagnostic of your evolution. And how beautiful is that? First of all, when you said that you saw this being, but then it went backwards and you remembered you saw, this is a great example, teaching that people are having experiences like this all the time in their higher state of mind or the higher consciousness. But there isn't a corridor, think of it this way, that moves into the human mind that causes the human consciousness to be aware, either heart conscious or mind conscious or body conscious. And so what happens, people are having these experiences, other people are having them in the night, but can't remember them. The wonderful part about you is that when you said, oh, you had it backwards, it was like, I remembered that I saw this being. What happened at that point is the corridor to your human consciousness opened, and your human conscious noted what had happened in your higher consciousness. This is very important for people to understand because many times there is so much happening in people's dream life now. So much happening. They aren't remembering. Just like Marilyn remembered more and more and more of her time as a child on a craft. Memories are coming now to many, many people. Things happen in the night. Nighttime is an interesting time for humans because some of their consciousness is resting, even though you were trying to sleep. So it's easier for things to come through. You don't have as many guards like humans have in the daytime to be alert to. You were able to actually, in your human conscious, be aware of this being called Zezar. And you were aware in that moment there was a being in the room. You were having light spiral downloads. Now, here's another beautiful thing about you. You were aware enough to say, what is my energy doing? You were aware, and your energy, really, it's what's your vibrational body, mind, heart, soul. What's my vibrational experience going on right now? The fact that you are able to ask that. So if people can't sleep, if things are going on, it's really, really good for people to say, well, what is going on energetically? So they become more familiar of the energetic world and landscapes of their body, mind, heart. It's very important. You had enough evolving at that moment to say, what is my energy up to? So important, because many people who can't sleep lay there and they just get caught in their mind. And the mind is not a good place to get caught in because you either go to a bunch of lists or it's like a ping pong match. But what you did is went to the energy. And then you were able to feel the vibrations that were coming in. They were already coming in, which is why you couldn't sleep, which in fact was good you couldn't sleep because you had this incredible peak experience. And I want you to look back at it as a peak experience. You couldn't sleep. You asked the question that was so right on. What is my energetic being up to? You begin to feel the swirls of light. Now, this is also important because when you can be conscious of these light spiral downloads, I'll talk about them in a minute, they can be downloaded more thoroughly all the way down into your physical material body. Yes, things are received by humans all the time by the light that is coming in, or the light of other humans, or the unified field of light that humans are creating that's coming in all the time. But if you're not conscious of it, it can only move so far. So your consciousness, Kara, in the night of this coming in, helped it move into what I call more and more receptor sites for the light, all the way into your material body. How beautiful, because the spiral of light comes in, and if the person is more and more conscious, it's alive. So it says, oh, we have the free will of their consciousness totally in receiving mode. So we will come in. That's why you felt it over and over, because it felt you feeling it, in that it was a figure eight of, yes, let's do this, you and the light spirals coming in. When they came all the way through you, they went into the earth. Never, ever is something downloaded as light into a human or a form of life on earth that it doesn't also go into the earth as a gift. And so you are actually creating a huge loop into the earth and back up and back in. It was beautiful. And you were so receptive to it and conscious to it. So this experience is so good for people to hear. First of all, when something is going on, even in your body, it's good to say, can I also get in touch with the energetics? Can I get in touch with the vibrations? Oftentimes, it may be a download of this white spiraling light. This white spiraling light, by the way, was created just for you that particular night. It may also be why you were so alert to it, because it matched within you. There is so much going on this planet. None of it is done without your free will. Those times are gone. So the galactics are here, even the celestials, and they will help. The light that's coming into this planet, they can put into light spirals for individuals to receive in order to be upgraded and upshifted, and the DNA upshifted and turned on to its potential that always was your birthright. So you receive this very important light spirals that was particularly designed for you. And what you need to know is, of course, you couldn't sleep, because first, you consciously were able to do this experience. And second, otherwise you would have missed the signature that you begin to understand of bringing an experience that could just be in your higher self into your human consciousness. Now what it means about you is you have more corridors open to receive more and more energetics that are going on around you. It could be energetics that come from your soul matrix, which houses all your incarnations. But what will be coming into you is your higher incarnations will start coming into you, because now you have created, and this white spiraling light, also one of its purposes is to create more landing fields or more receptor sites for this light. For instance, a higher incarnation, I can see it right now, wants to connect with you. You have a corridor, because all this Kara, humans have had this separation girdle around them. And so their consciousness has stayed rather dim and only 3D oriented, material world oriented. As people like you are breaking the girdle of separation, you're also producing keys to unlock these corridors to all these worlds that you have been deprived of even knowing about. That you could be in relation with one of your highest incarnation who wants to send you essences for this mission on Earth, with a galactic family where you had spent an incarnation who is come to also help you. So the ability to travel multidimensionally, the ability to open corridors so that you can learn bilocation and telepathy, which is going to be so important for humans on the planet to learn telepathy. First of all, so that you can be more transparent to each other, but second, so that you can communicate with some of these higher galactic beings when they walk with you on Earth. So all this is happening, and this is to say congratulations to you, Kara, because I see there's more corridors that you now have cleared. Expect more, and it might come in the night, in your dreams. But know when you feel shaky or your energy feels off, probably something higher is happening. Doesn't mean you don't get a cold and all of that. It just means that if you can be more aware that there may be a higher energetic involved, and as you increase that awareness, you expand your ability to travel the universe.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. That makes so much sense. And as you were explaining it, I was like, of course, of course. But I had not been able to make those connections on my own. So I'm really, really grateful. And it's so exciting also to think about where humanity is going and how quickly it's happening. And I want to speak for those who are watching too, just the gratitude of your assistance and for you being here today, but just also the ways that you're supporting us behind the scenes in ways that people won't know, that many people won't know, or maybe they'll know in the future. Maybe
But
they'll be able to look back and say, oh, I remember now.
you know, the best way for people to know, those of us that are here to assist you, is to know their own light growing, transforming, transmuting that which doesn't serve them. When people wake up to that, that is what they need to know. And that is what thrills me when I watch that happen. And it's happening so much now.
Yes, beautiful. Well, Marilyn has shared with me that you've been talking about the unified field of human consciousness. And I feel that this is really related to what we've been talking about, both Marilyn and you. What can you share with us about how that's changing?
Can I say this to you, Kara? I just love you. I love your soul. I love your energy. You know, one of the biggest guidelines we follow is waste not. So I feel all this love for you. I'm not going to waste it without the expression of it. And that's why sometimes I show up. You are very beautiful in what you are doing for Earth. So now we can get on.
Well, let me express my love too. Thank you. I love you so much, and I'm so touched. I love you and Marilyn and your whole team. It's such an honor. Thank you.
Oh, good. Now we've got the dance going. The waltz music will proceed the rest of the life. So the unified field, Kara, is growing so fast, faster than we even expected. You know, it is more and more people. You can't see this on your news, but more and more people across the earth. We can see it because when people have even small awakenings, there is a little light that goes on that sparks around the globe. And there's a lot of light sparking around the globe. when people consciously come together to create a unified field of heart consciousness, it actually moves into the light grid that is the human consciousness around the globe. It is building so rapidly. This is the really good news. There is something called 0 point energy. I'm not going to go into all that it is, but it is energy available past the veil. And just think of it that way. And your scientists want to figure out how to use this energy that's available past the veil that can fuel many things that humans need to fuel. What is not realized is that the power of humans coming together and creating this consciousness field is it begins to move up into the atmosphere and begins to dissolve these separations that have happened as a collective in the human race. And so they dissolve the separation from humans even thinking there is life out there, for goodness sakes. Humans still are God and know there's no life. Well, those separation bondages are dissolving. And so then the unified field is so much more powerful than one individual. It's powerful, it magnifies, it amplifies, it's amazing. And it continues to grow very fast, moving and forming, you might say, like a beacon of light. And the light keeps moving through the multidimensional worlds. This light has gotten so powerful, it is very close to busting through to the 0 point energy, interdimensional quantum place beyond the veils. Once this happens, the energy will be available for humans, not to drive your cars or to heat your homes, but to heat up the light within the human domain. This energy can be utilized by the unified field of consciousness to do all kinds of miraculous things, powerful things. You as a unified culture can come together and with your consciousness build architecture for the new dawn. You can come together and create new arts and new music and new healing. And this energy is, call it abundant fuel of the kind that has never been seen before, to generate this ascension process accelerated in an exponential way that has never been seen on Earth. As you break through, you will be able to utilize this in the unified field. Yes, as part of the unified field, individuals will feel more abundance, more abundant energy to create, to understand their magnificent light, to know how to direct it in their missions. Questions people have right now, like, what is my mission? What are my gifts? All of this will be clear because it's a clarifying energy boost to the human's ability to begin to co-create the new world. This is happening as we speak. It is getting to that level, Kara, where this potent energy will be coming into the planet, not just for your technology, but actually for humans to become the generators of all that is to come. Now, in this, it will also boost the energies of your DNA. As your DNA becomes whole and complete, there is also a strand in your DNA that is coming onto line that is the antidote for the mutations that your DNA has gone through. I know this sounds like science fiction. To us, it's just the way it is. But this strand of DNA holds the antidote. Just an aside, all the light codes from the ancient civilizations that were advanced, Atlantis, Egypt, the ones who built Stonehenge, the Druids, the Lemurians, all these ancient cultures that knew about this time had codes ready to be released from their great stone monuments, but also from the ancient ones who were able to continue to survive in places like Telos and Shambhala, the fifth dimensional communities that are still alive on your planet. These light codes, what's important with all of this is they're being released. The light codes also hold energy to ignite this strand that holds the antidotes for the mutations that have happened to your DNA, like I said, or like I think Marilyn said earlier. But I say this all the time, humans can live 200-300 years and then some. But of course, they can't right now because of all of this mutated DNA. And so it invites disease, and all of this your body eventually will be able to fight. So this is turning on. Your DNA will become what I call wholly whole once again. The blueprint for the new human will be set in this DNA. And eventually the DNA itself will have parts that will be light DNA. And so the human will not just have a light body, but the light body can be totally merged. This is part of Ascension in all species with the physical body. Because of this light DNA, will commingle with the light body and the physical body. And so if you were to see the cosmic humans, I call them cosmic humans, Kara, but they are a human planet that lives way on the outskirts opposite where Earth is. They never went through what Earth humans have gone through. They made it to the fifth dimension. They're teetering on being six-dimensional, where this merging all takes place. These cosmic humans have come now to Earth. We sometimes merge with them in our retreats for humans to feel who the cosmic humans are. They are here to help. But they have been able to have this merging, and they are in the midst of having this light body, physical body merging. You should see what these humans look like. It'd be like if you saw humans walking on the street, there would be like an aura of light you would see all around them. And they would emit the most loving vibration you had ever felt in your life. And they're human. So you would feel the resonance right away, unlike perhaps some other galactics. And they are here now to help the human race ascend, because they are the blueprint in total action of all that I'm talking about. And they are here to help the humans rise up and be able to create this unified field that breaks through the veils to get this super energetic in the 0-point energy realm, to bring abundance in ascension abilities, turning on the DNA, for it to be in a holy whole, lighted way, to light the body, mind, heart, soul. And when the human is no longer concerned with survival, acceptance, trust, betrayal, when the human has those words can't even be remembered. The cosmic humans don't have those words. You'll find you are totally in this bliss state of being in your mission that you came to be in 24/7. And in that mission, no matter what it is, whether it's art or music or science or healing or building architecture, It will be so resonating with every part of you. You will feel blessed every day to wake up, only to be in the mission that is the totality of who you are, where your light becomes in a figure eight dance with all that you do, say, and feel. This is the new world.
Wow. Now, these cosmic humans, are
Yeah.
they embodied?
They're totally embodied. They're fifth dimensional. Yes, they totally are embodied. Like I say, you would know if there was a cosmic human walking on the streets because they would look human, beautiful, because everything. I know your culture gets too stuck in beautiful, so I'm careful to say that, but beautiful in terms of looking totally aligned, peaceful, calm, loving, but they would admit this white light aura too. So, but they would be totally embodied, but their bodies would be in such sync with health and well-being, you would be able to feel that in your own physical body.
Wow. That is amazing. And, all the things that you described so beautifully. I mean, there was a lot there. Thank you for going
There,
into all of that.
there. Thank you for
Yeah.
knowing that.
Yeah. And my human brain starts to try to make it like almost to separate it out, because as you were talking, it was like, so when we have this rise in energy, is this like, because it's got this cosmic nature, how much of that is to do with the humans making choices to rise the consciousness? Or would this be happening anyway? Is this a cosmic thing and we're more along for the ride? Or are we an integral part of it? And then you've got all the help from all the galactics and the cosmic humans and all of that. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Listen, the humans are the integral part. Know this for sure. This isn't something that is being done to humans. That is an old concept by those who want to have the helpers look like control freaks. No, no. It is free will is very important. But the humans, you have risen, believe it or not, after thousands of years. You know, you've had ancient, advanced cultures. Egypt is one, and it fell. There are many, many ancient cultures that really thrived and survived, and they kept their wisdom in these light codes that are being released, even though they dissolved. But humans have reached a point. It's when the Christed one came to earth. Look, it created a huge wave, but the wave got distorted in a way at that time. So everything, Buddha came to work. It was all an experience to see where the human race was. But what's important is what the human race starts to do with it. Now, there are many, and this started decades ago, that we're starting to awaken, you might call it spiritually. No matter what religion, they were awakening spiritually. You have reached a point, and I know this is hard to believe because of your news and every chaos that is going on, but you have reached a point where many, many individuals have awakened to their soul, to the truth that you are not alone in the universe. All of these things you have awakened to. It is created a field by which the help now can come. You might say it's a green light. Used to be a red light, then a yellow light, caution, humans, and now it is a green light. And Earth has also positioned herself. 26,000 years ago, she was in the same position with the photon, what your scientists call the photon belt, direct line to the galactic center. That's when evolution happened in great detail on your planet physically. Now it's an evolution 26,000 years later of consciousness. So Earth is receiving more light from the galactic sun, more light from the universe's sun, going through the galactic sun, going through your solar sun. So this is all coming in. We call that white diamond light. And then we watch how you utilize it. Your Earth put herself in that position because she is a celestial being herself that volunteered to be the planet. All planets are alive. They're alive beings. So the Earth put herself in a position. Let's see what humans do. The awakening started decades ago, one by one by one by one. You are now in a position in free will to say, we are ready. Many of you have said, we are ready for the next ascension time, which is now. And there are naysayers who say, how can, if there's wars on earth, that be true? But it is true. Don't decide to create your reality from your insides, not your outsides. You will be co-creators from the inside out, and this is what is happening. But back to your question. Now you have many coming in because they are resonating by the phone call received by many humans on Earth. You put out the call, unbeknownst to you. We got many calls, especially in your dream time, to come. We came. But we cannot interfere with your awakening. It has to happen human to human. If it doesn't happen human to human, we could come. People say, why don't you just come and help us out of this mess? Because then you wouldn't be the ones ascending. We would bring ascended information to you, but it would all be for naught because you wouldn't have the receptor sites within you to understand ascension experience through your vibrational consciousness. Now you are beginning to rise up, and the more you rise, the more this field gets extended. Then when you do these communities of unity, of unified consciousness, that makes it even more potent. More energy comes in to dance with the Earth's ascension and the human ascension. And this is what's happening now. There is a dance that's gotten started, and it is heating up.
Oh, that's so amazing. And I feel that the whole conversation, everything that you've shared kind of rotates around the question I'm going to ask next, but I want to ask it directly. Many people don't really feel that they have the reach as a human to really move the needle. And, if we're not there saying, what policy is going to be and dictating, whether we're going to go to war or not. You mentioned wars and all of that type of even the level of corruption that we have here in America. So if we as a human don't feel that we're individually in a position to really move things forward in the external, because that is part of our experience here, what do you say in terms of how the everyday person has power in this reality?
First of all, your power, you have to begin to entertain the notion that the world is a mess because your inner power has been so betrayed, so diminished. You have told you're not enough. You are told you're not the one. We have some members in the community who are doing amazing work, and their families say, who do you think you are doing this higher light work? You should be out there saving the turtles or something like that. It is because the biggest thing you can do, even if you are all alone, is decide your inner world deserves time and space. To decide your inner world is what creates all your thoughts anyway. Is to realize the inner worlds of so many other people who think they have power has dictated this mess you're in. So the best thing you can do is to start to realize your inner world actually has a lot of power you have been deprived of. And to begin to explore, become inner explorers, and begin to increase your own light quotient by beginning to eat a higher vibrational diet, to think higher vibrational thoughts, Not be so married to all your electronics who tell you how to think. To have a heart that you go out and you're kind and you're compassionate. And people say, oh, kind and compassion, what about the weapons that kill? And I say, you just haven't come to a place in your human race where the unified field of light is so powerful in its coherency. There is nothing incoherent that lives like war, that can possibly be more powerful than the light of a unified human consciousness field that originates in the heart. Listen, this question you ask is so important because you have been made to believe you are so powerless. And I say, take that veil away and realize you are powerful. Because I'm telling you this, those that begin to explore their inner light, perhaps you're an artist that are bringing in the new art that when you look at it will cure people. Perhaps you are a musician that will bring in new sounds that will heal oceans. This is all to be. Explore those creative parts of you. And you can say, yes, but there's wars going on and people are starving. And I am saying there is nothing in your 3D world that has resolutions for that. Or my hope is humans would have come to those revolutions. But it is still going on. So I say to you, it is your ascended higher vibrational self that will join with others, creating a unified field of this coherent light. And you don't know this yet, but that coherent light field will be more magnified and amplified. And in its coherency, it will dissolve those people you think are in power that have a mean heart, which they do. It will dissolve it, and you will not have to think about it, convince them of it, or anything else. What I'm trying to get across to you, Kara, is there is a new time coming where people will be able to understand light technology. Marilyn and I are writing the next book on light technology. So important to understand. It is new to your planet. To be able to know that you, in freeing yourself from the bondage of separation and deprivation, begin to grow your light within. People say, how do you do that? Go walk in nature. She is already breathing light. Walk in nature. Every bird that sings to you is trying to help realign your light center. Nature is already ascending. Every wind wisp that kisses your cheek is trying to speak to you and bring your light. This is what's happening. Walk in nature. Lie at night when you can't sleep and check out your energy. Realize there is so much happening in you that is much more worthy of the news. And then you begin to raise your light and find others that resonate with your higher wish for a better world. And in that, you will create a more solidified light field. And I'm telling you, this happens on many, many planets. When it gets to a certain state, the light field itself, created by the heart consciousness unified field of humans, will be a bigger, how do I say, weapon against the densities in dark. You have nuclear weapons, you have guns and all this, but this love field will be so potent that it will shower Earth and those that hold meanness and war and destruction and violence. It will dissolve that, and that which lies underneath even those humans is a small flame of light, and this shower will begin to grow it. So I say to Marilyn, if nothing else, you sit in your meditation room and you continue to emanate your light and your love and your kindness, which is so powerful, to your neighbors, to your community. And you know it's joining with so many others that are doing the same. And you are growing a field that your current weaponry will not have a chance. of destroying your earth.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. What I love, I love the answer to the question, but your enthusiasm and your passion and your just the excitement about it is so palpable. And it, to me, it's like you have this view, like you have a view beyond time where you're trying to convey what already exists.
Yes.
And there's this enthusiasm and this excitement, but it's so palpable. And it really is helping to construct this field, even while we're talking. You can feel it.
You're so right. And listen, Kara, I come in so passionate because humans hold passion that can turn into desire to create this world. So I am dancing with the passion that humans have, beautiful passion in the heart of the humans. I want to speak the language of that passion because you're right. I am here to inform about a reality that humans do not know yet. And so I am striking a pose of passion about this reality that is real, that is coming, that is brewing. And if I can trigger a passion for people to be part of this unified field, because it is human to human, then I have done part of my job.
Well, thank you so much for your service. I mean, just generally for taking on this purpose and being of assistance to us, because so many of us can see how much things need to change, how much potential there is for change, and we need beings who can see, non-linearly and can see out to what's ahead to help us to zero in on it and to sort of pull us forward
Exactly.
with that potential that we have.
You have just described my job. I should have somebody type this up. This is what my job is. It's beautiful. You get it.
Well, I'm so, so grateful. I'm so grateful for your participation in our ascension. And I'm so grateful for you joining us here again today. Thank you so much, Zezar.
Absolutely all my pleasure to be able to dance with you, Kara, another time.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Oh my goodness.
My goodness. Wow.
So much came in. That was amazing.
Kara, his relationship with you is so precious. And when he feels that, how he comes through with his information is just so much more expanded. This is what I want to say.
Oh, well, I am so honored. And I mean, I even was like, let's say imagining, right? But in the future, when we're on the other side, and, of course, we're always evolving and so forth, but like, I was even getting this glimpse of people who are on the other side watching this to be like, wow, it was like they didn't even know yet because they're living it, but to even, it's kind of like if we come across an article of somebody guessing about what's coming in the future, and it was 100 years ago, and it's like, wow, they really kind of nailed it,
Well, it's amazing because I think you're so right on with, there are ones that are looking at us. And Zezar often says 100 years from now, they will look back at this time and go, all of the human race became Galileos. They all began to understand this new reality, how they did it in those times. They will scratch their heads and they will bow down and kneel to all of us in this time because they will get how hard it was to move out of these denser paradigms into the light. And that's a nice thing to think about too, that there will be humans going, yes, to us.
Yes, right. Yes. That it's just really exciting to think of being on the other side of it. And, are we even conveying what it's like on this side for what is to come?
But you're so right. I want to thank you for that while we're doing this interview, just holding these visions, Zezar always says, when you held it, I'm holding it, it grows it. What we think turns into materialization eventually, what we feel. And we know that from psychology and science right now, so us holding this begins to make it more and more closer to others seeing these realities. And once we all see it, it just will be.
I love that. That's amazing. Marilyn, it is a joy and an honor to connect with you every time. Please, you're such a busy woman. Tell us what's coming up for you.
Well, we have a huge summer retreat near our sanctuary in upstate New York. We have many people coming from all over. This summer retreat is so dear to me, and what Zezar is going to be doing with the unified field at this retreat is off the charts. Then we go to Costa Rica with Stargate. After that, we are in England for a retreat. Go to our website, theshift.rocks, not .com, but .rocks, theshift.rocks. And you can see the England retreat. That's going to be amazing. We go to Glastonbury after that for Portal to Ascension. And then we fly to Slovenia for another Stargate retreat. And we're doing the Divine Feminine at that retreat, which should be amazing. And what's next? Oh, after that, California, we go to San Diego late September. September 19th and 20th is this amazing transcendence retreat. Bashar will be there. Zezar will be there. There's several other incredible people that will be there, and you'll be bathed with this amazing immersion of all of our energies. And then we have some small retreats here at the sanctuary. And New Year's Eve, we're going to be in California doing a New Year's Eve, starting the new year right. Small retreat, but it's all on our website. So if you're interested, one last thing, Kara, we do something called the Epic News. We had this last Sunday. It's free. It's for like 3 hours, and humans come on. We had over 400 people sign up. It's so amazing because Zezar kept hearing people talk about the news. So he says, well, let's have an epic news station where humans come on and tell their stories of their awakening, learning to bilocate, learning, just having love encounters out of nowhere, just beautiful kindness is happening. It's all about the real news that's happening on the planet, and humans come on and tell their story for a few minutes. And then Zezar comments on kind of the next level of meaning of what they're experiencing. It's amazing. So we do that on Zoom. And then we have conversations with Zezar on Zoom. Again, we'll be putting up new dates for those, where people can come on Wednesday nights and ask Zezar anything they want. That's fun because we get all kinds of questions, and he does a dance with everybody that comes on. So just a few things we're up to.
I love that. I love that you clarify that it's humans who come on and tell their stories.
It's humans. And Zezar will comment on the incredibleness of their story, but humans get to hear others who are going through this awakening, and it is so inspiring.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you once again. So much love to you and Zezar and your team. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Soul Elevation. If someone in your life would be inspired or uplifted by what you heard today, please take a moment to share it with them. These are the kinds of conversations that ripple out and elevate collective consciousness. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the powerful episodes ahead. Your presence, energy, and support truly help amplify this mission of raising frequency and anchoring in a more awakened humanity. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you for the next episode of Soul Elevation.